Hello everybody and welcome to the Roseland Exchange on episode 2 of our creative build for a cathedral built around note block music creation. In this episode we're going to be trying to make some more progress on the base build. Last time we came to the conclusion that the design that we were trying to make before was impractical and just kind of hard to manage. So after getting very geometrical with this, I began by making a bit of a grid out of the cubes to better represent the smaller one. However, this gray structure, which I have since begun to shrink down, was way too big. The top of this cube is only about 20 blocks away from the build limit, which is a little bit difficult to work with. As you can see, it's been shrunk down considerably, still following the pattern of the cubes laid out before. I've started to lay out some of the arches and these central columns as well. So, as you can see, it's a little bit closer in height and scale to what we had before. I was playing around with adding an area around this back, more similar to what you would see in cathedrals in real life. But yeah, this is where we stand. The actual measurements are based off of that first facade that we built, and if we fly down momentarily, we can see the pillars aren't nearly as big as they used to be. This is what they kind of used to be. But we have two entire blocks in our smaller mock-up to represent giant bell towers that are going to go here. So we're going to have something that's maybe about the radius of this as a circle, cutting around here. And maybe not cutting inside, but providing more space for more musical constructions in the middle. As far as the actual gridding for the cubes, the center of these pillars are what I based the cube off of. So you see this block right here is what we're using. The height of the cube is here. It's not marked in this one, but the measurements are equal throughout the entire structure. And this is giving it a bit of a better sense of scale than we had before with the gray, because it's not as big. You can see that the top of this central nave is actually below the clouds, which is nice. You don't get any of the distraction of, hey, there's a cloud in my building. However, we do have one section of the building that does have that. As you can see, this central spire is going to be up above the clouds. Before there. But that's going to be a pretty interesting build because we're going to have a bit of a rosette design there, crystal ceiling. That'll be pretty great. Now we have some elevated platforms set up in a regular cathedral. The altar would be here, and the choir would be set up in this area. I'm actually going to have these set up as programming stations for the songs, where the musical databanks that are currently over in the lab will be set up in parallel on either side of this area, maybe have some here, and they will send signals to the exterior actual music lines on either side. So you can have 2 or 4 songs hooked up to the system at any one time. Each of these will also have a localized clock to help run the whole thing. I initially built these out of concrete because falling sand is practical whenever you're building something ridiculously tall. But I found that the very cubic nature, I mean, you can see the division between each of these blocks, of the polished stones make it really easy to build with and lay stuff out with because you can count very quickly. So yeah, I'll be back with an update once I've started to lay out more of the floor, and maybe I'll start getting some of the colors in. for the next time. Alrighty, see you in a bit. Alrighty, welcome back everybody. It has been almost an entire day of building since the last update I gave you. Since then, we've begun work on the bell towers that go on either side of the entryway, and the arches are getting some fill in now. You can see that that's leaving a pretty nice shape up there. Currently, as far as we're starting to look at block palettes, so as far as block palette is concerned, we have a lot of teal, which we're going to include in the ceiling, along with a series of glass, so we can take advantage of daylight. A little bit of quartz, I'm thinking, for the pillars. Some more grounded materials for the actual ground. The lodestone being a really nice representative of the checker pattern that you usually find in cathedrals, and a lot of sandstone, which has become the kind of main material that I've been making some of the more permanent areas out of. So we have a bit of the logo of the build crew that I am the only member of. And here we have our first system area, our first song area, where we have each of our memory units lined up. We're going to have 10 of them for each song. And underneath, as you can see, we have a bit of redstone. And actually, all of this is ready for a little bit of a test, just to see if it works. Currently, I have 8 items in this counting system over here, which is going to mean this clock is going to cycle 8 times, and then the whole system is going to reset. Hopefully. I've been messing with running these signal lines out and underneath these blocks and into each device. There's another one down there, and we're running a line here with this comparator clock to reset the whole system through a series of one-tick clocks here with observers. So let's see what happens. We won't really see much here. We'll see it go once. Oh, that's not good. I think that means that we're getting a pulse every single time. Yeah, we started up. Okay, well, the reset system doesn't work. That's a problem. Alrighty, well, I'll be back in a second. See if I can fix this. And that was definitely a case of testing too many things all at the same time. So I've disconnected the reset line, and hopefully what we're going to see is these 8 pieces of memory funneling down into this chest, ideally giving us a separate pulse each time on this redstone. So let's see how it turns out. Hi. Okay. Speaking of problems. Oh, that sounded like the system turned itself off. Nope, it did not. We do only have 8 items in here, right? Yeah, it ran through for another cycle. Interesting. Well, you know, this is what redstone development looked like, really. Oh. Hey, look at that. Uh-oh, we have problems. Alright. Turn everything off. I will be back in just a second. Found the problem. This piece of redstone was missing. That way the system can't reset itself. Very nice. And as far as the actual reset system deciding to make its own loop, that's because it was taking the power from this, which is part of the actual counting, and making its own loops off of that. So, no redstone allowed there. Well then. As always, redstone never ceases to amaze me. Now, let's see if this system can count to 8. First of all, we have 8 items there. Hit the button. Toggle the T flip-flop. Run the clock. Look over here. 4. Okay, so that's counting down, and you can see that these all turn on at the same time. So this is how we power each of those memory units to read a new piece of memory. And then it should turn off. And alright. Alright. So that's a good sign, at least. It looked like all of these systems. For clarity, this is where we are actually going to be drawing the signals out and running the note block lines underneath the glass. So that way we aren't making the songs too far away from the actual listener, which will probably be somewhere near this block. A little bit gaudy with all the buttons on it, though. Okay, so since we ran that, this should have 8 boats in it. Good, so it ran down. We didn't get to check that quite yet. Let's make it system reset. Only needs to run the clock a little bit, so probably can get away with a more simple redstone comparator clock, which will hopefully not blow everything up. Not there. Take a little bit of redstone, put it here, and this block does not get powered. So we should be in some kind of shape. I don't know if good is necessarily the kind of shape we're looking at, but yeah. I might have some ideas. We'll see. For right now, let's not send anything new into the system, so just oop. And this is going to make the clocks do a bunch of stuff. Let's see if that reset it. That seemed awful short. Takes a little bit longer for this stuff to reset. Yeah, that didn't even start. Alright. I'll be back. Quick little update. I have figured out why that item was getting stuck in the dispenser here. The repeating clock, and actually this is why it wasn't working in the first place. I thought we needed to have it at 2 because then it repeats, but it actually burns out after a little bit. And it turns out that 3 works much better once this torch fixes itself. There we go. You can see that we get a reliable pulse that can incrementally empty the chest. So, with that solved, I'll come back in a bit after we get some more progress done on this. Alrighty everyone, so it has come to my attention after several days of troubleshooting that this system is a little on the janky side and probably won't work very well in what I'm trying to do. And for that, I am going to show you exactly why. I have built this exact same machine, block for block. Well, that's strange. I have built this exact same machine, block for block, 3 different times. Twice over in the lab, and once over here. And all 3 machines operate completely differently in their timing. I've hooked up note blocks to them, and well, let's see if we have this set up to fire. Doesn't look like it. Alright, let's try that again. So that's a bit of a problem. That should have actually been completely even instead of setting up in pairs of 2. A la beep, 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 beep. Which, that's not even. That should just be playing like a metronome. So that's problematic. Now, if we head over to the lab, which I've made a little bit of a teleported thing for, we can see something quite similar. We'll turn on the same clock that we have down in the Cathedral, and we'll hook up some lines and reset some stuff. Top line's hooked up. Nope, this one's not reset. reset you real quick. Alright. Alright. Now, these have been built in the exact same way. In fact, this one is even built in the exact same orientation as the other one over in the cathedral, that way. So, maybe if it's the orientation, that will be clear here. Let's listen. The left one didn't fire. Well, that's because there's no torch. How good. Well, you could kind of see it there. This one actually fired one more time after this one, which shouldn't be the case. Oh, we have that just wrong. We'll put that there. There we go. Okay. Well, these reset so I can give you a clearer shot. I will show a little bit of what I've been working on as a replacement. I'll cover more of this new system in the next episode, as it will also include a new system for running the actual music lines. So now everything is reset, I do believe. Looks like I'm about to be booted. 1 second. Alright. Now that we're recording again. Oh, I'm missing one. There it is. There we go. Alright. All hooked up. Now, let's check this out. These are on a delay because we do have one repeater right here. But aside from that, we have a whole cacophony of issues. We have double item passing through here. This one seems to be fine, but this one, which is built to be the exact same as this one, seems to be having issues. And this is the orientation that we have in the cathedral. I have no idea what's going to happen on the other side, so until such a time as I find out exactly what the issue is, we will not be using this particular design, which is a shame because I've already built 8 of them over on the other side. So I'll be changing all of the wiring, all of the systems to hook up, and a variety of other things in the next episode. Right now, I'll show you a little preview of what we have to solve the issue. We are actually changing clocks from the repeater on-off system to a hopper clock, which will just send a pulse. The pulse goes out of this torch and it goes into our counter, which is unchanged, and into a bit of a dispenser hopper T-flip-flop thingamajig, which will serve the purpose of either toggling this light on or off, and in so doing only send one signal through this observer, because the observer will notice either a rise or a fall in signal from this torch over here, which is going to turn on and then turn off, sending 2 signals through the observer. The observer then will power a line which goes into I'll be back in a second.